Hi everyone. Good. We are here for grade 9 math. You can find all the lessons on aplusstudents.com using your email address and password is provided by the administrator. Then you have to select math from the subject tab, scroll down to 9 math, and then click on view all lessons. There you can find a list of the chapters. We're going to start with the chapter solve equations. The lessons we're going to cover today are write and solve equations that represent diagrams, solve one-step linear equations, solve two-step linear equations, model and solve equations using algebra types. Please make sure you have your notebook and pencil so that you can note down the important examples and definitions as well. Here I am on chapter we are on write and solve equations. Let's just start with the first lesson, that is write and solve in diagrams. Write an equation that says that the length of the red line is equal to the length of the black line. Combine like terms. So the length of the red line is equal to 15 and the length of the black line is equal to q plus 5. We can write it as and we can write it in equation form, that is 15 equals q plus 5 because the length of the red line is equal to length of the black line. Let's just start with the test questions. Write an equation that says that the length of the red line is equal to the length of the black line. So the length of the red line is 16 and the length of the black line is j plus j. So you need to combine our like terms. Like terms are the one that have the same variable. So j and j, they are the like terms. So that equals 2j. Option number 1 is the correct option. 2j equals 16. Option 1 is the correct option. Write an equation that says the length of the red line is equal to the length of the black line. Combine like terms. So we have the length of the red line is 45. Now let's just count how many. The black line is divided into small portions. So let's just see how many portions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 45 is equal to 9g. So 45 is equal to 9g. Option number 1 is the correct option. That is 45 equals 9g. Option number 1 is the correct option. Write an equation that says that the length of the red line is equal to the length of the black line. The red line is 27 and the black line is 2w plus w. So 27 is equal to 3w. The correct option is option number 1, that is 27 equals 3w. Option number 1 is the correct option. Write an equation that says the length of the red line is equal to the length of the black line. Combine like terms. Eighteen equals 2s. Option number 3 is the correct option. That is 18 equals 2s. Write an equation that says the length of the red line is equal to the length of the black line. Combine like terms. Option number 2 is the correct option. 6 equals p plus 3. Option number 2 is the correct option. 6 is equal to p plus 3. Option number 2 is the correct option. Write an equation that says that the length of the red line is equal to the length of the black line. Combine like terms. That is 15 equals 5g. Option number 2 is the correct option. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. Let me just move on next lesson. The next lesson is solve. Z plus 7 equals 9. So Z equals 9 minus 7. Nine minus 7 is 2. So the correct option is Z equals 2. Let's just start with the test questions. Z plus 7 equals 9. You need to solve the equation for Z. So you have to undo the operation. You need to remove that 7 from here. So opposite to addition is subtraction. Subtract 7 both sides. 7 minus 7 is 0. So Z equals 9 minus 7, that is 2. That is Z equals 2. Option number 2 is the correct option. Solve for K. 2K equals 2. So which is the correct option? That is K equals 1. Option number 1 is the correct option. Option number 1 is the correct option. Solve for M. So you have to undo the operations. M is dividing to 4. You need to multiply both sides by 4 so that you can evaluate the value of 4. 4 and 4 M. 4 and 4 cancel out. M is equal to 14.8. Option number 2 is the correct option. Option number 2 is the correct option. That is 14.8. Solve for F. So you have to undo the operations. F minus 11 equals 20 minus 11. So 11 minus 11 is F equals 20 minus 11, that is none. Option number 1 is the correction. That is F equals 9. Option number 1 is the correct option. That is F equals none. Two equals W divided by 3. You need to calculate the value of W. So W equals that is W equals 6. Option number 1 is the correct option. Solve for W. That is 18.6. Option number 2 is the correct option. Okay, we are done with the lesson. Let's just move on to next lesson. The next lesson is solve two-step linear equations. So let's just start with the test questions. You can have a look on the tutorial yourself later today. Solve for W. W over 2 minus 1 equals 1. W over 2 minus 1 plus 1 equals 1 plus 1. So 1 minus 1 is 0. We have W over 2 equals 2. W equals 4. That is W equals 4. Option number 2 is the correct option. Solve for V. 2V plus 3 equals 9. So 2V plus 3 minus 3, that equals 9 minus 3. 3 minus 3 is 0. 2V equals 9 minus 3 is 6. And V equals 3. Option number 1 is the correct option. Option number 1 is the correct option. V equals 3. Solve for P. So then P equals, you need to add 1 both sides. P over 3 equals 2. Then P equals, option number 2 is the correct option. Solve for S. 3 plus 2S equals 9. Option number 1 is the correct option. That is 3. You have to add, subtract 3 both sides. 3 minus 3 is 2s equals 9 minus 3 is 6. Now you have to divide both sides by 2. So s equals 3. Option number 1 is the correct option, that is 3. Option number 1 is the correct option. G over 2 minus 2 equals 1. So add 2 and out, G equals 3. Now multiply 2 both sides. 2 and 2 cancel out, G equals 6. Option number 2 is the correct option, that is G equals 6. Solve for T, which is the correct option. That is T equals 1. Option number 1 is the correct option. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself today. Let me just move on to next lesson. The next lesson is model and solve equations using algebra tiles. Let's just start with the test questions. Which set of algebra tiles represent 3x minus 1 equals negative 25? Option number 1 to the fourth one is the correct option. 3x minus 1 and these red tiles negative represents negative 25. Option number D is the correct option. D is the correct option. Which set of algebra tiles represent negative 6x minus 5 equals negative 23? Option number D is the correct option. D represents negative 6x minus 5 equals negative 25, represents the numbers. Which set of algebra represents the equation x minus 6 equals negative 11? Option number D is the correct option. D represents x minus 6 equals negative 11. Which set of algebra tiles represent the equation negative 2x minus 3 equals negative 17? Negative 2x minus 3 equals negative 17. So again, D is the correct option. Which equation does this set of algebra tiles represent? That is x plus 6 equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 11. X plus 6 equals 11. Option number C is the correct option. Which set of algebra tiles represent 3x plus 3 equals 27? Option number B is the correct option. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9. Yes, option number B is the correct option. Okay, we can complete the lesson by yourself later today. So we were working on grade 9 math. The chapter we were working on is solve equations. The lessons we have covered today are write and solve equations that represent diagrams, solve one-step linear equations, solve two-step linear equations, and model and solve equations using algebra tiles. So please make sure before the next session you can complete all the practice questions for the lessons you just did. That is your homework until next session. So if you need more help with any of the lessons, you can simply click on the live chat button. Tutors are available there to help you, or either down the questions in the chat box. I'm here to answer all your questions if you have any. Any questions you can please ask.